Glory to God. Welcome back into the channel. My name is Raul. This is Lifted Noise. And I'm looking at some of the things that I've learned so far as chopping and time stretching in the SP that make it really great. The time stretching on this, super nice. A lot better than that warp on the MPC that you get standalone. So let's take a look at these things. Come on. All right, so I've got a loop here. Of course, you got some basic functions. I like to normalize and truncate, make sure I have a nice loop. I've already looped this out, but one little tip, if you don't know, this is on loop and you want to get to hearing where it loops back around a little bit faster. You can press the roll button. It's going to trigger the sample right here instead of from the beginning. So that's going to help you figure out your loop a lot quicker. Once you got your loop, exit. Going into pad 11, shift pad 11. And then I want to adjust this so you could do like, tempos per bank, but I really just do 1 beat per project. So I'm going to switch this to project and this will like sync everything together. So my tempos are on point with my samples. So I want to tap this out using the sub pad. Okay, so it looks like it's about 66, but in order to just make sure, I like to go in and sequence my loop into the pattern sequencer and then adjust the tempo just to make sure I have the tempo correct. Okay, now you got to make sure your loop is off, because if that's on, it's going to trigger the pad again and then shut the sample off. So, and you can adjust your metronome using this middle control knob here, so I can hear the metronome, kind of line it up by my ears. So then what I would do if it wasn't on point, it already sounds like it's on point, I would just adjust the tempo here and then listen to the metronome with the sample. So that's good. All right, so now that I've got the tempo pretty much figured out, I want to exit the pattern sequencer, and I'm going to go into pitch/speed and manually set this. So if you click down on the control knob or on the push enter knob, then I can manually adjust this. So we're at like 66 beats per minute. There we go. Now from here, what I would do before, because I'm going to get into time stretching and chopping, but before that, I want to kind of come up with the key that I want the sample to be in. So let's go one more. Okay. But then also, as you pitch, which is cool, is you get an indicator right there that says the new BPM. So the BPM has changed. And I could exit here and then go into tap tempo and change that to what that was. So let's go 78.49. 78. And then you can hold shift to do so I'll just do 78.5. 78.49 is about 78.5. Okay, and then if you wanted to just use this loop as is, you can quickly do some time stretching by turning on the BPM sync. And then if you go back into shift tap tempo, listen to how good this is. Can speed it up. And it does this strange thing. Well, it's not necessarily strange. I think it's good, but probably. So what it does is after you hit a certain point of stretching, it actually pitches the loop. Not necessarily pitches it, but it goes down to half speed, I believe is what it's doing. But now that sounds a lot better to me than the real-time time stretch warp function on an MPC standalone. So Now that said, what I want to do is copy the sample into its own bank, and there's benefits to putting it in its own bank, which I'll talk about when I get to that point. So copy that. I usually put it on bank C, C for chops. Makes sense, right? All right, so going into chop, hold shift and start. Get our little chops. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna strike the pass and get a vibe for where I want the chops to be. Then I'll worry about editing them afterwards. Cool, so I got 8 little chops. Now I can use the push enter knob. If I turn it right, I'll zoom in. Then I'll use this control knob to adjust the actual start point, get it nice and tight. There you go. Okay, so click this in and we'll do assign to pad. Now, usually you just press each pad in order to assign them, but you do have like an auto assign to pads if you just press mark. So let's do that. It's much quicker. And then push enter. I got these on pads, but the SP doesn't put these into a mute group automatically. Would be nice if it did, but I'll go shift mute groups. I'll use mute group C, you know, kind of keep it consistent. Bank C, chops, all that. Just throw these in there. Now, this is important, obviously, because you want your samples to chop each other off. But putting them in the mute groups, you also get some added features, like you'll be able to adjust settings simultaneously to all the pads. So one thing I want to do in order to, as you can hear, maybe you hear the endpoint, kind of little click poppy sound. In order to smooth out your chops, go shift envelope, right? Pitch speed takes you in the envelope. And I'll hold the copy button and I'll adjust my attack and my release. So I'm just gonna set it to 1 on each, and that's enough to smooth out the chops so they sound real nice. Hard to be precise with this at first, it just like jumps, but there you go. And now you'll hear that the endpoints, start points will be a lot smoother. See, like butter. Okay, exit that. And now another key thing is, like we did with the loop earlier, is to put this in BPM sync. But having these in its own bank is one of the benefits of being able to put these all into BPM sync so that I can time stretch them by holding shift, BPM sync. Now you see all of them now have BPM sync on. And so I can go into tap tempo and I can real time stretch. All right, so 81.5 beats per minute. Go into my pattern sequencer and I'll delete this, start fresh so I can do some chops. So there you go. That is the video for y'all. Hope it was helpful. If you appreciate it and you got some value out of it, give it a thumbs up. That's the best way you can support the channel. There are monetary ways you can support the channel in the description. You know, Zounds, gear, wish list, digital products, merch, that kind of deal. That's it. God bless y'all. Till next time, keep on running with your dreams. Later. Bye.